This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires, right on our strength, and by Grunt Style. Now, with all the news from NASCAR touring, local and international series racing, here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Chalk up win number 2 for Dippel in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, while Preece scores win number 2 in the greatest race in the history of spring. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. Kyle Rickey here in the Killingly, Connecticut studios, Hannah Newhouse in our Concord, North Carolina studios. And Hannah, welcome to May.
Year's just been dragging on, like we're starting to kick race season off, and then I looked down at my schedule and it is May. Holy cow, this year has been flying by, but glad to be in full swing of race season. There's a race every single weekend, so excited to be full swing in the season. And
maybe, just what maybe, it'll get above 45 degrees here in Connecticut, and we'll actually have a good weekend of racing here coming up as short tracks up here in the Northeast continue to open up. Stafford Motor Speedway last weekend. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But you were busy over the weekend, traveling to the Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East event, their third race of the year. Todd Gilliland, not there, but the David Gilliland Racing with Crosley team, very much a factor nearly from start of the day to the end of the day.
DGR Crosley has just been probably one of the best teams of the season so far. They're undefeated so far. They've got the wins with Todd at both New Smyrna and Bristol. Tyler Dippel captured the win this past weekend at Langley. I mean, you asked anyone in the pits and they were like, man, the person to beat is going to be that DGR Crosley team. And the K&N East teams actually put on a great show. It was like 150 laps. Clean racing side by side, and if you haven't had the chance to go to Langley Speedway yet, I highly suggest people get up there and check this racetrack out. It's a great home track. It's got great racing, whether it's the K&N cars or the late model stocks that they run there. So it was a great race, and Tyler Dippel, man, he just swept the weekend, won practice, qualified on the pole, and made a late race charge there at the end to capture that win. Everyone was super excited in victory lane.
We'll talk with him about his day here in a little bit. DGR Crosley teammates Tyler Dippel, Tyler Ankrum, first and I believe third in the final running order. Rookie driver Anthony Alfredo finished in the second spot. Hannah, this was a race without Harrison Burton, without Todd Gilliland. Is this kind of a good representation of what we might see the rest of this NASCAR K&N Pro Series East season?
Yeah, I think the lineup this past weekend is really going to be your full season contenders. Like you said, Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland went into this weekend, first and second in points, and they weren't there this weekend. So it really gave these full-time competitors a chance to step up, show who's going to be there, show who's going to be a threat the rest of the season. And Tyler Ankrum walked out of the weekend with the points lead. Tyler Dippel captured the win. You saw Anthony Alfredo, who hasn't had some of the best luck so far this season, come out with a runner-up position, led a lot of laps. So this past weekend was a great preview of, I think, what we're going to see the rest of the season.
Tyler Dippel will join us in studio here in just a few minutes here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Also on the show today, Spring Sizzler winner, and he won some race at the Bristol Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ryan Preece won his second consecutive Sizzler on Sunday afternoon, and I've heard several times over the weekend in Talladega, folks wondering why he's not full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series, because he could probably challenge for the championship. But Hannah, you know as well as I do that it's just simply not that easy to get a top flight ride like that for the full season in NASCAR's National Series.
It really is. This sport is such a difficult thing, and it's such a difficult thing to maneuver your way through the top ranks, because it's not about, hey, you're really good, someone calls you up and says, drive my race car. Preece is a proven factor of that. It takes more than that, but he set himself up in a good situation, got the money to go run with a good team, and heck, like you said, he just won at Bristol a couple weekends ago. That Dash for Cash brought him a pretty good check and backed it up with a win at the Sizzler. So I feel like Ryan is that setup that if he doesn't make it, something in the system is broken, because he has proven himself time and time again that he has what it takes to make it at the top level. He should be racing on Sundays.
You said it perfect right there, and that's exactly what folks said in Talladega is if he doesn't make it, the system is broken. Preece held off Chase Dowling, Rowan Pennick, Patrick Emmerling, and Craig Lutz in the top 5. Some other notables: Myrtle Beach winner John McKennedy came home in the 6th spot. Thompson winner Justin Bonsignor was 8th. and 2018 title contender Timmy Solomino was 9th, while defending series champion Doug Coby continues to get off to a pretty tough start here in 2018, similar to a year ago, finished 21st. Justin Bonsignor, the point leader by 1 over Chase Dowling. They'll head to the Seekonk Speedway on June 2nd for their next race. Incidentally, Coby 7th in points, 30 out of the lead. And listen to this stat, Hannah. He's just 5 points ahead of Ryan Preece, who did not even compete in the first race at Myrtle Beach. So it should be fun. We expect Coby to have a pretty good summer here and watch him climb the standings.
Yeah, Coby will be there at the end. Like you said, he's proved himself before that even if his season doesn't come off to a really good start, he'll get that consistency, he'll get those good finishes at the end, and, he'll be there. But I think you're really going to see drivers like Justin Bonsignor and Chase Dowling, one of the rookies, one of the young guns. He's proven strong everywhere he's been this year. So I would really like to see one of these other drivers get up there, stay consistent throughout the season, and I think we're going to have a great championship chase coming through the end of the season.
They'll be contending for their first series championship. Ryan Preece will be contending for his second series championship and has momentum on his side after a Sizzler win this past Sunday. He'll join us after the break here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Grunt Style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
Kyle Petty here. My friends at Click & Close, the official mortgage provider of NASCAR, have stepped up this year to support Victory Junction through the fastest lap of the race program on NASCAR radio. So join our team. Go to clickandclose.com/NASCAR today to donate $43 or more and help us give the gift of camp to children with serious medical conditions. That's clickandclose.com/NASCAR. And just look for the Victory Junction logo. Thanks to Click & Close and NASCAR Radio for their support this season.
The Country 500 Music Festival is back at Daytona International Speedway. How do you like me now? With Toby Keith, Chris Stapleton, Dirks Bentley, Sugarland, Billy Currington, and so much more. Country 500 Memorial Day weekend, May 25th, 26th, and 27th. For tickets and information, visit country500.com. Sponsored in part by Budweiser.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Back here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength. Kyle Rickey here in the Killingley, Connecticut studios, joined by Hannah Newhouse and Tyler Dippel, NASCAR K&N Pro Series East winner from this past weekend. Tyler, welcome to the Motor Racing Network and welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Yeah, sweet. I'm super pumped up about the win still, and thank you guys for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
If there was such thing, or is such thing, as a perfect day in racing, it looks like you might have had one on Saturday at the Langley Speedway, winning not only the Hampton, Virginia 150 for the, or Visit Hampton, Virginia 150 for the K&N East Series, but you won the pole, you were on top of the session in both practice sessions. I mean, was it that perfect of a day for you guys?
It was pretty good. I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better day with, a whole brand new group of guys. I've never worked with anyone on this team. That was our first race with DGR Crosley. And I think everyone on the team executed it perfectly. We had a really good car right off the truck, led both practice sessions, qualified on the pole. But, honestly, I thought we had a car, we could walk away with it, but, being that you didn't get a set of tires, we had to play a little bit of strategy. The tires we know were going to fall off, so right from the beginning, me and Chris's game plan was we gotta save this thing for the end. So it got a little nerve-wracking there in the middle of the race, not going to lie, being back running 15, just saving your stuff. I was getting a little antsy, but everything worked out at the end of the day.
Chris Lawson, the brains on your DGR Toyota there. It was an interesting strategy. You guys were up front, and by lap 10, you and Tyler Ankrum dropped to the back, and I was like, oh man, I hope they're playing strategy. But you guys recently announced, under a week before going into Langley, that DGR Crosley was your new home for the rest of the K&N East season. How did it come about, so late in the season, and how did this partnership form?
It was just forming, we were talking to people after New Smyrna, After we parted ways with Rhett Jones Racing, it was just time for a change. And just talking to people, there was a bunch of people I raced for Chad Bryan, MDM, and then here at DGR Crossley, just trying to find a home, trying to find a place I would fit in the best and get the best results at. And DGR Crossley offered everything that we were looking for, just a group of guys. They're super fun to be around, super, super smart. I don't think you could ask for anyone better in the K&N garage than Chris Lawson. Probably one of the best crew chiefs I ever worked with, and I'm excited for the rest of the year because this is race one and we were already gelling and we already got some chemistry. I think it's going to be really, really good.
So far, so good for both you and your teammate, Tyler Ankrum. 1-2 in the championship standings after the first couple races. How close are you with Tyler, and do you believe that he might just be your closest competition for the series championship this year?
Yeah, actually, I just met Tyler a week ago, but me and him were beginning to become really good friends. He's a really cool kid. But, yeah, going back to the championship standings there, we found ourselves 2 points back after Langley, and I believe it's going to be an in-house battle, a DGR battle for the championship right there, because I believe DGR right now is at the top and they're bringing the best cars, and Tyler's a good driver too. It's going to be a fight, I think, between me and him.
And let me tell you, the energy in that pit is quite interesting. You had Todd Gilliland there this weekend, wasn't behind the wheel, but he was wrenching on those race cars. So between the two Tylers and Todd, lots of energy in the DGR pit this weekend. But when you pulled that race car into victory lane, your dad was there with you. Lots of emotions. It's been 2 years since you've been in victory lane for the K&N series. What was that emotion like to, finally pull into victory lane, and what a perfect situation?
It was just such a relief, because after coming off what I consider to be the worst season of my racing career last year, and just to get the monkey off your back, it was such a relief. I was super pumped. We can do this still. We could still go out there, be fast, dominate, and I don't even know what to say. It was just super pumped up about the whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask you, how would you describe your 2017 season? And you just said worst season of your career.
Yeah,
but
by far, terrible.
How difficult was it to keep that motivation? That did have some positives, a few top fives, and you wrapped up the year with a third place at Dover at the end of the season with that Rhett Jones Racing team.
I'm really not going to sugarcoat anything. My confidence was really, really hurt after last year. I don't like to settle for those top fives. I'm not that type of person. Where I came from, my background in the big blocks, we went to winning everything and stuff, and then it was tough making the transition to asphalt, but I'm still learning. I probably have the least amount of laps on asphalt, probably anyone in the K&N series. But yeah, just to get back to victory lane, and the confidence booster was huge there. It meant a lot, I think.
Now, you touched on it a little bit as far as your background. You don't come from the typical background that a lot of these drivers, they do, the limited late models, the super late models, and then K&N. So they're all asphalt. You come from a dirt background. Talk about, a little bit of where you came from and how you ended up in the K&N Pro Series.
Yeah, I just came from Northeast big block modified racing, really, really lightweight cars with big motors. They make around 850 horsepower, so you could throw those things around. You got unlimited power, you got to be really, really easy on the gas with those cars. And, we decided a couple years ago we want to try asphalt racing and try and make it. So one thing led to another, and kind of started racing some late models, did really well in them, and just started moving up the ladder, and here we are in the K&N Pro Series.
What's your schedule look like this season, and do you still have the modified? We might see you on dirt. We saw you in the ARCA race a couple of weeks ago at Nashville. Around the K&N series, what does the season look like for you?
Well, besides the full East schedule, of course we're going to get some big block races in there. I don't know really where we could get them in, but somehow we're going to fit them in there. You know, definitely Eastern States and World Finals here at Charlotte, but I also think the ARCA race at Charlotte is a very good possibility right now, and probably some other ARCA races, you know, just trying to figure that out right now. I would love to do some truck races. That's also been talked about right now. But, you know, nothing's really set in stone. We're just trying to figure things out. You know, we finally just got settled down with a team here, and we're going to do some racing. We just got to figure out, you know, how much, pretty much at this point.
One of the things with this, you mentioned with the dirt or the big block modifieds, is they're really light. They've got a ton of horsepower. These K&N cars, they're like taxi cabs. They're real heavy.
No motor.
They're slow. They've got no motor in comparison. And you're planning on going back and forth between these big blocks and the K&N cars. What's that balance like going with these from dirt and a completely different car to a K&N car?
You know, it just, I think it helps you in both. The more you race, as much as you can be in the car, one thing in the other car is going to help you with the other. Because I think the K&N car helps you be a lot more consistent and hit your marks in dirt. And the dirt car, otherwise, teaches you so much car control and easy on the gas. You know, don't spin those tires, just more car control. I think that played a really, really big role at a place like Langley where you couldn't touch the gas and you had to have a lot of car control and save the tires there.
Love the big block modifieds. Able to watch them at my home dirt track up here at the Lebanon Valley Speedway in West Lebanon, New York, every Saturday night. So much fun to watch. Next stop for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, though, coming up in a couple of weeks' time, South Boston Speedway in Virginia on May 12th for the Who's Your Driver Twin 100s, a pair of 100-lap races for the series, the only time that we'll see it in the East this year. What's the dynamic of that day like? How is it different knowing that you're prepping for not one race, but two?
You know, it's a big deal because that's a double points night for us, and I know it's really early to be looking at that, but that's a really big night. You know, it could either go really, really in your favor, or if you have a bad night, it could end up really bad for you. So there's going to be a lot of preparation that goes into that race, because I know it's not one of the biggest venues we go to, but I say South Boston's probably the most important, being that double points deal.
And it's looking like it's going to be the Tyler and Tyler show here in the 2018 season. Already confusing enough when I'm walking through the pits and talking about Tyler and Tyler. But DGR looking like a really strong contender this year going into South Boston as well. So thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Congratulations on your win. And hopefully we'll have you on here a couple more times.
Yeah, I hope so too. There's nothing more that what I would want is to be on here more talking about some more wins.
All right, Tyler, thank you for joining us. And best of luck to you here in a couple of weeks' time at South Boston Speedway. Coming up, the NASCAR Spring Sizzler winner from this past weekend on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, Ryan Preece, joins us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Chris Crockett here with one of the heads of our Toyota racing family, Martin Truex Jr.
Doing great, Chris. Thanks for asking.
I hadn't asked, but was about to.
Great second question, Chris. Car feels great, and no pressure because of last year's results.
How do you
know what you're about to ask?
Yeah, you're
blowing your mind? Relax, Chris. Being out in the lead is what I do best.
That is
amazing. I know.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go this season? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice, Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
They call it the greatest race in the history of spring, the Napa Spring Sizzler at the Stafford Motor Speedway, an event that started out as an 80-lap race in 1982 when promoters Bruce Cohen, Lou Boyd, and Dick Berggren developed the Sizzler. That race has since been extended to 200 laps with the concept of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour back in the mid-'80s. And the driver that has conquered the 200 laps the last 2 years joins us on the guest line now, Ryan Preece. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on yet another win this year, your first on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
Yeah, I was actually changing gears, and I'm sorry I forgot. I missed the call in a little bit, but the car was really good this past week, and I'm really proud of all the effort that everybody's put in, and how well this car has been performing this year. So, just and obviously, it's always good to be talking to you, Kyle, Rickey, and Hannah.
We appreciate that, Ryan. Last year, you told me how special it was to win the Sizzler in a car that you set up. I assume you set this car up as well. How does 2018 Spring Sizzler compare to 2017?
2018 has had its hurdles, so it's the same deal. Set this one up. Not quite the same setup as what I had last year. I would say the Hoosier tires have a lot more grip this year, so we've had to, kind of make some wholesale adjustments there prior to the race. But fortunately, the adjustments worked. We had a really good car, whether it was on the 630 or the option right rear that we're allowed to put on. It was really good. We had great pit stops. And I know anytime you can go to victory lane and win, I guess it's always a good day, right?
Now, they say that you're one of the most successful drivers at Stafford Motor Speedway when it comes to NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, collecting plenty of wins there. What's the secret to your success here at Stafford without giving it all away?
I think Doug Covey's actually got me beat right now. I think he's the most successful active driver. So I guess I gotta catch him a little bit. But to be honest with you, I started racing SK Modifieds weekly there in 2011. We've accumulated, I think I probably have about 30 feature wins total there now. So I think laps, because Stafford's a really, really difficult racetrack. Somebody who's just showing up probably isn't going to do quite as well as they'd hope, just because you wouldn't expect the racing groove to be where it is. But, if you can make the outside work there, it seems to really help too. And really that's it. I mean, just having a really well-balanced race car. And I think ever since that I've taken over and found what I want in a race car and how to get it, it's really helped me run better at Stafford.
We talked earlier, the Modified Tour race at Stafford, the Sizzler, 200 laps, one of the longest short track events of the year. Obviously, you'll run 250 later this year at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. A longer race, you started 6th, you led 91 of the 200 laps. How much does pit strategy change over the course of the event, with one, where you're running, and two, how the yellows fall? Because there were 10 of them, and all but 2 of them came before the halfway mark.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with the car count we have this year. We've been seeming to have 28 to 30 plus cars at each race this year, and typically when you have a lot of cars, it can breed a lot of cautions until the racing kind of thins out, and right around when it got to about 20 cars past halfway, I was kind of getting a little nervous and skeptical of staying out. But I also knew that my car's so good on a 50-lap short run, when you can really, do some things to show the speed it has. So I kind of gambled it, and fortunately it all worked out, and we were able to come home with the win. I think a lot of people know at this point I'm going to be the guy who's pitting with less than 30 or 40 to go to charge through the field. So I enjoy passing cars and having those tires to really make that happen.
Now you were coming off a pretty big win at some racetrack called Bristol, where you captured that Dash for Cash win. Do you feel like that Xfinity win helped really your confidence going into a race like the Sizzler?
I think it's just a different event that a different mindset, I would say. With the modifieds, I have a lot of control over what happens, where with the Xfinity car, I'm more of just the driver, and I give my input, but at the end of the day, I don't have the final say. So, walking in, I wouldn't say I was any more confident than I would be any other week, just because of how difficult it is to win on the Modified Tour. I didn't show up thinking, man, I'm going to win today. I showed up, man, I better make the right decision so I have a chance to win today. ultimately we did, and it all worked out. So, but don't get me wrong, that Bristol win's still pretty cool, and I'm still living the high off it.
Won $100,000, part of the Dasher Cash bonus money. You also won the race, obviously. You mentioned pre-race. I believe it might have been post-race Texas or pre-race Bristol that if you were able to win, a lot of that money, your portion would go back to your grassroots racing, whether it be getting your Stafford car ready or maybe paying back some of the folks that help you get the opportunity that you're currently in with Joe Gibbs Racing. Is that kind of where that money went, where your portion of the money went?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm sitting here. So my father, he's been a huge part of my career, and my parents, my mother also, obviously, my family, but and my brothers. But we're building the mezzanine for all the parts we have on the shop that sit on the floor. So I'm building that for my father. I have yep, and I've been going back and forth between Chassis Dynamics and my race shop, trying to get this SK Modified done and just picking up parts, gathering stuff, getting it ready. So hopefully in 3 weeks I'll be running my own SK Modified at Stafford Speedway, and maybe on weeks that I can't run, I'm gonna put somebody else in it that I feel deserves an opportunity. So I'm definitely, I love short track racing, and I love seeing people get opportunities like I felt that I've got. So hopefully things can keep on rolling. I can keep being successful so I can keep trying to help people that I feel deserve opportunities get them.
Now you mentioned, or we talked a little bit about earlier in the show, how you are kind of the name right now in grassroots racing that everyone's watching, hoping they make it. And we talked about, everyone's talking about it. If you don't make it, the system's broken. But I recently read actually in a NASCAR Home Tracks article that you'd made a comment of like, don't get me wrong, I want to make a name for myself, but I want to make it in modified racing as well. So I'm remembered as like people like Rickey Evans and Ted Christopher, and you've got the wins, you're having that success. But what more do you really think that you need to do to, to be up there with names like that?
I don't know. I guess really just keep winning championships. I mean, one thing that's kind of hurt me over the past 3 years, which really hasn't hurt me, because don't get me wrong, when I say that, I mean that in the sense of if I cannot go to the NASCAR Monster Cup level, I want to be known as a guy like Teddy Christopher or Rickey Evans. Now, being a Cup driver and doing that's the ultimate goal, all right? But honestly, if you cannot make it to that level, you want to be, you want to be one of those successful people that everybody around the country knows about, whether they race in modifieds or not. And so I think to achieve that, you've got to win races, not only on the modified tour and at weekly tracks, different series. You got to be successful there. And I guess, as a racer, we show up to win. So I just want to be looked at as when I show up to a racetrack, that whether it's in a modified, a late model, or whatever it may be, that I have a chance to win and that they're going to be thinking about me, when I'm coming through. So I guess that's really what I meant by it.
Well, you're well on your way, and in fact, probably there as far as putting your name on the map. Everybody's been talking about you here the last 5 or 6 weeks or more, even dating back to that win last year at the Iowa Speedway. Ryan, congratulations again on the win at Stafford in the Spring Sizzler and at your Xfinity win at Bristol a few weeks ago, and best of luck to you. Where are you off to this week? Riverhead Raceway, I think is what I saw?
Yeah, Riverhead Raceway, where I'm going to be able to debut the new car that we've been building for the past month, and hopefully it goes well. We'll find out.
Opening night at Riverhead this Saturday. Ryan, thanks for joining us. Best of luck to you on Long Island this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Stafford Spring Sizzler winner Ryan Preece joining us. There was other action over the weekend at Stafford. The SK Modifieds in action, always a competitive field, and a familiar name at the point in Keith Rocco. Glenn Reen won the late model race on Sunday afternoon. Other racing in the Northeast, Monadnock Speedway, Brian Roby held off Kim Rivette to win the Sportsman Modified feature. Tyler Leary won in Super Stocks. Bowman Gray Stadium, Burt and Jason Myers swept the Twin 25s for the Modifieds there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And Wayne Hale won at Kingsport Speedway. Looking ahead to this weekend, Hannah, Tucson Speedway in Arizona will feature the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West.
Yep, the West is back in action after having not raced since Kern County, I think in late February. So it'll be great for them to be back on track. Twin 100s, what a great racetrack. Really abrasive, really flat half mile. It's going to be a really big points factor, like Tyler Dippel mentioned earlier. These double races, lots of points on the line, lots of action. So these drivers are going to have to be strategic. So K&N West back in action. I think things are going to be interesting. You're going to see a lot of things shaken up on the West Coast after this weekend at Tucson.
And we'll feature 90-year-old West Coast legend Herschel McGriff back behind the wheel, and 3 ladies, Haley Deegan, Cassie Gaines, and Vanessa Robinson, all on the entry list for this weekend. Should make for a great race at Tucson. Also, before we go, you had some success in your family on the short tracks over the weekend, Hannah.
Yes, I did. Meridian Speedway had their first Big 5 super late model race of the season, and my dad is actually wheeling my super late model out on the West Coast, and he captured that win, had a roller coaster of a night, but still came back to get the win. So Dad, I'm coming for you in a couple months. Make sure that race car is ready. Obviously it can win, so let's just get me back behind the wheel of it. So great job to him and everyone over at Meridian Speedway. Great facility.
I want to wish him definitely a congratulations in getting your car back in victory lane. Hannah, have a great weekend. Look forward to doing it again next week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Yep, I'm excited, ready to talk more racing next week with you.
Opening this weekend, Riverhead and Evergreen. Want to thank Ryan Preece and Tyler Dippel for joining us. See us next week.
NASCAR Coast to Coast has been brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. NASCAR Coast to Coast can be found on demand at mrn.com, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.